Human beings, we are horrible.
Have you ever aided abortion? It's frustrating enough to see someone in pain and you can't really do anything about it.
I don't know of any society in Africa that looks at death objectively.
Yeah, you as a common person down there, having a sibling, having a parent, having a grandfather, a grandma, or someone, a friend, or for instance, who is in that situation, very terrible by the way, and they ask you, please, can you grant me this wish to die? It was a tattoo on someone, on the back.
Can I say?
Written
Can I
boldly.
say?
Please do. Remember the credit.
Oh my God.
We on.
Encourage. Bro, we should be able to gas each other.
Blacked out hour.
Get away.
And we are live. Welcome back to Black Dot Podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed.
Indeed.
I hope you all are well. It's beautiful Monday morning here in Hastings, 15 degrees to the weather, like you say.
Yeah.
We've had a good chill. Just right outside, okay?
Outside the holiday home.
Yeah, had a little bit of vitamin D, though.
Yes.
Being really caressed by the breeze of the channels.
And the sun.
Lovely.
Gifts from God.
Awesome, yeah, I tell you.
Yeah.
This is it, yeah. Sometimes we take things for granted.
Bro.
Like you get to know how therapeutic some tinge of nature.
Nature,
Indeed.
man.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We really take nature for granted.
I tell you.
It's one gift we don't deserve.
I agree.
Human beings, we are horrible.
You know, you don't really get to know what you have until you lose it. That's why I pretty much say privileges are really blind to those who have it.
Yeah.
If you are around nature, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about back in Africa. Obviously, surrounded with the trees.
Yeah.
You know, everything nature. I was talking about farm animals and lovely. That's
Guinea fowls.
ambience
Duck.
of peace.
Turkey.
Okay, that
Rabbit.
ambience of peace. If you are around this, you don't know what you have. Pretty much cherish it and enjoy it as much as you can. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what time it is? It's Monday. It's a Monday sauce.
Yes.
Today we're going to be talking about topics regarding, or rather surrounding, death and dying. Unfortunately,
Yes.
if you're quite triggered, if you've lost someone recently, or you are still going through grieving process, I would advise you to take some viewers' discretion at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't aim to cause you any more grief, but
No.
we empathize with you if that works, if that means anything at all.
Exactly.
Moving forward, really. Now, I'm trying to have an analysis on how we want to go about this topic, because on the one hand, it's very unusual in the concept of, okay, to the listeners.
Yeah.
And everyone else obviously coming down here as well, because it's not like something we know.
Yeah.
Just keep it 1,000, okay? We'll be talking about euthanasia.
Yeah.
Talking about end of life,
Yes.
care, which is really predominant down here in the West.
Yep.
And if we've got time, have a very brief reference on abortion and things alike, and other peripheral topics as well.
Yeah.
But before we dive right into it, please take a pause. Follow us on our social media platforms.
Yes.
If you will crack on with that, please.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at BlackDoutPC. That's BLACKD out PC. And Facebook Blacked That's BLACKD out.
Sorry about that. I knew I'm such a klutz. Anyway, sorry.
You're clumsy.
It's alright.
It's alright. You're allowed to. You're allowed to.
Anyways, on Instagram is the Black Dot Podcast, and of course on TikTok, Black Dot Podcast as well. YouTube's our home base, please show us some love.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
And
there we go.
There we go. Yes, let's get right to it.
Straight to the point, yeah?
So this is it. I'm going to start with this question.
Yep.
actually 2 questions, if you allow me.
Okay. Take it away.
Have you ever aided abortion?
Aided abortion.
Yes.
Medically, yes.
No, personally.
Personally,
Yeah.
from someone I know.
Yeah, wherever. Someone you have some
History with.
history with, or whatever you would call it.
No.
You haven't.
No, I don't have, but medically I have, like, when it comes to looking after someone who we needed to prioritize their lives other than the life of the fetus.
Cool.
Yeah, so medically I definitely have. But when it comes to, like, personally, I haven't. But I have been subjected to be an, what do you call it? A facilitator.
Facilitator.
Yes. I have been subjected to become a facilitator severally.
No, it's not uncommon, of course, when you are somewhat a medical personnel
Yes.
amongst your friends.
Exactly.
You are like their real life doctor, aren't you?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's good to know that at least I know my place when it comes to you, pretty much. Anyways, have you also?
Call me.
Yeah. Are you fucking advertising?
No, I am not. I am not.
This is so fucked up.
I am
man.
not. Anyway, jokes
Second
aside.
question, Beno. Let's just crack on. Second question.
Second question.
Yeah, second question. Have you ever been solicited? Sorry, my words are crazy. I talk too fast. Sorry, just the way it is.
No problem.
So, have you ever been solicited to perform or to grant a death wish?
To grant a death wish.
Yeah.
Medically, yes, of course, we've been exposed to all these scenarios with regards to ending of life. You get me? So, and we, at some point here, you need to take death wishes very seriously, because you need to understand this is an individual who's coming closer towards the end of their lives. You get me? And people have very crazy death wishes, but you need to comply to them. You get me? And if they're not able to, like, wish it, you grant them a peaceful ending.
Well, I like the way you actually explained yourself. You didn't really
I was trying to
scratch on the question I asked.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a guy, right? Fed up of life.
Yeah.
So, something is going on. Passing through really a very bad, disgusting health disease. I'm in pains and I just want to die. And I come to you as my healthcare provider. Elvis, please, can you just give me something to die?
No, nah, never.
Right. So you have never been solicited to grant a death wish then?
But on the contrary, yeah, I have never been exposed to end of life, as I told you before. As I was practicing.
It necessarily might not be end of life. It might just be someone who is in pain, not in his...
In the sense of, like, ending their life medically.
No.
Then I haven't.
No,
I haven't.
okay.
Yeah,
Because I just want to ask this question with the idea of euthanasia in mind,
Yep.
just to see how we come in. Personally, I have, but only to the later. I think I've got a story I had back in the day, in my high days. I just come up from school, and I had this little place where I practiced. Good place, actually. I had this patient. She was in her late 30s, thereabout. Had a very nasty sore on her breast because she suffered from breast cancer, stage 4, by the way. Now there's no way around this.
It is irreversible.
Okay, she's just at like end of life. Okay, it's going to be a matter of months, and that's just what it is. But the thing is, this lady was in pain, so much pain that it impaired everything about her livelihood. Her sleeping was impaired, altered a pattern of sleeping, like we imagine, and I can't even imagine how it is to constantly cry of pain. She scores her pain 10 over 10, keep it 100. She had a very beautiful, really warm husband who was always on her side, bless his heart. I've never met any guy, like I told you earlier before, any guy as lovely as that man. If you are a lady and you have that man by your side, honestly, you have gold. This is me as a guy looking at another guy, and I'm like, give him that. The flowers, okay.
Accolades.
No, it was fantastic. And the family is fed up. I imagine it's been like many months coming into this very end. And we've maxed out every not antibiotics, analgesia.
Painkillers.
Like we've maxed out everything. All of the opioids we think about, pentazocine, think about morphine and the whole likes and stuff. Oxycodone. We've maxed out everything. And at best, 20 minutes relief, and it's back again, 24/7.
That's horrible.
Every fucking day. It was horrible. For me personally, to be honest, I wished death on her. I don't feel bad for doing so because I feel like I was doing her a favor.
Wishing death as relief.
As relief, yes.
Okay,
because this is nothing. Like, I it's frustrating enough to see someone in pain and you can't really do anything about it.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I'm serious about this. Serious shit. You can't really do anything about it. And this lady in pain. I was like, okay, it's just better you died, to be honest. But then I am bound by my ethics. I can't obviously act on my wish at that point, even though she had earlier wished days on herself and requested if this is possible, if I could grant her that. So this is like a premise to the conversation we're going to be having today.
Yeah.
Now there is something called euthanasia.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to be talking about it in a bit. Just give us a quick overview for the sake of our listeners, because I imagine most of you guys don't have a medical background, a foundation, and just to give you a little bit of what it means. If you're really kind enough as well, if you just give us grace as well to talk about end of life, just so give us an overview about what it is, and they can dive into the whole conversation.
Yes, and then we can have a discussion, because there's quite a lot of gray areas when it comes to death. Yeah, so today we'll try as much as we can to like demystify it. As I told you before, I have never been exposed to like end of life before. I have never thought that an individual will be willing to sign that they wouldn't want to be resuscitated. Yeah. So when I give you all this description, everything we have just talked about will make a lot of sense. Okay.
Cool.
So I'll start with euthanasia. Okay, it's a common word now. It's running all over. It's going rampant because a couple of countries are like trying to properly legalize it.
Really?
Yes, so many countries you would be bewildered. Okay, a lot of the countries in Europe are doing it. Switzerland, Canada is actually doing it. Switzerland have actually named that pod a suicide pod. In Canada, they're actually doing a trial. I think if it's not already been done, it's on the way to be done. Okay? One of the first patient is a transgender, but that's a discussion for another day.
Okay. Can you just make this
as objective as possible?
as objective as possible?
Anyway.
Okay, without any acrimonious intentions.
No. I don't have any acrimonious intentions.
Okay.
If you know, you know. Anyway, euthanasia is the practice of intentionally ending an individual's life to eliminate pain and suffering.
I think the key word there was intentionally, and it should be like a wish of a person to terminate a life.
Of course, they can consent to it, and if they're not able to consent to it, there's a discussion around the well-being of this individual with regards to quality of life.
Good.
So the family is called, the next of kins are called. If they don't have a next of kin, advocates are involved. And there's a discussion that's had with regards to the quality of life of this individual.
Yeah.
And if the quality of life is not fulfilling, what they normally do is they sit down, have a discussion, withdraw any form of treatment being given to this individual. If they were probably in a critical care setting, they will switch off all the monitors and everything. If they're in a ward setting, they will be prepared for the journey towards their end of life.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Journey to oblivion.
Yes, it's the journey towards the unknown. Because so far, nobody knows what happens with regards to death. We all have our strange beliefs. We all believe differently. Muslims have their own belief. Christians have their own beliefs. Buddhists, the same. Anyone who believes in anything have their own belief of what happens with regards to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of death, I have pinpointed something as I was giving my definition of euthanasia, and that is end of life. Okay. So end of life is now the act of facilitating that intentional death. Okay? Euthanasia,
Really?
yes, is now the act of facilitating.
By the word facilitating.
Facilitating is not killing them, is facilitating, granting them that peaceful ending with that regard. Okay? Some countries do it medically. Like they will now, like whatever is going to start happening in Switzerland, whatever is going to start happening in Canada.
Yeah.
Yes, so they will now do it medically. They will give you some chemicals and everything, and then you'll die. So if you are in that transition, if you are in that process to like to end your life intentionally, you are in the process called end of life. So if we are involved, we are the carers, and then the definition changes again. It becomes end of life care. Okay?
Yeah, cool.
So that is basically what we are exposed to medically. So in hospitals, people will sign the do not resuscitate, and then if there's the discussion about the quality of life, and it seems that the only way to alleviate the pain, the only way to alleviate the suffering is by granting them that dignified death. That is now when we're involved, and now it becomes an end of life care. The transition between being alive and being dead.
Yeah, that's
basically
that's very insightful. A very clear explanation. Just to add on to what you just said, like you said, clearly it's the willing termination of someone else's life.
Yeah.
Now it could be voluntary, like you said earlier. It could be involuntary. Voluntary means, okay, I come to you and like, please end my life.
Yeah.
Involuntarily, you haven't got capacity, but obviously, as now imagine a wounded horse, and then a horse crying in pain. Obviously, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And then, boom. You're right. That's more like an involuntary one,
Straight
in a
to
way
the
of
head.
like giving a peace,
Yes.
full ending for that horse. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
There are so many areas around end of life. So many ways to talk about it.
Yeah.
And if you like say it in that regard, like in some basic ways, like when I look into a lens, you see that end of life almost closely relate to some practices that we see around us, be it in a hospital, even in the general community. For instance, if it was a passive grant of termination of life, for instance, say someone was sick in a terminal illness, like my cancer lady, bless her heart, and she wanted to die. Well, she hasn't got capacity at this point, but then you do not resuscitate her, for instance, because it's, well, I don't want to use the word resuscitate, because if they have to resuscitate, you're probably dead anyways. But like withdrawing treatment in this regards, treatment, like you need some antibiotics. It's not a life-sustaining medication, but then it's a medication that potentially would have made you better. But considering your situation, being at that point, is no point bringing you back to continue the kind of life you're living. So like we withdraw this. That's not like in a way to see it in a passive way. And if you think about it, like if we wanted to go really hard on to an active approach to end of life, execution.
Exactly.
You made mention of chemicals and stuff.
Yes.
Like what we do in prisons, like most of the criminals are executed. That is a kind of euthanasia.
Yes. So we've now transitioned away from hanging, but there are countries that still practice hanging.
Yeah.
But nowadays, the best way to like execute anyone that most countries are trying to like narrow into, it's not the electric chair. It's not hanging. They're kind of introducing the chemical execution of these individuals. They quote unquote call it the painless death, but then death is death. Death is still a loss. It's a loss of life. And the thing we can all do is now offer that dignified ending. You understand? So when it comes to like withdrawal of treatment, we withdraw treatment because if we prolong your life,
but by prolonging the pain as well.
Yes, we are prolonging your suffering. We are prolonging your pain. So we are not withdrawing treatment heartlessly. We are withdrawing treatment so that we can shorten the duration between you being alive and in pain and you being dead peacefully.
Dead.
Yeah.
So it's depressing enough to talk about death in this manner. I've never seen anyone who looks at death with a very happy expectations with regards. But then when we talk about euthanasia, it's not just a topic you fly through the ears and you have a grasp of exactly what it means, because there are so many aspects
To it.
to euthanasia. There are so many questions, there are so many arguments and debates, consideration to look at when you define the lawfulness, for instance, the moral obligations, for instance, to say something is right or wrong.
Yeah.
There are so many ways you can look at it, and in one hand it can be right, in the other hand it can be wrong. Few aspects of consideration I would reckon here would be like ethical stand towards euthanasia,
Yeah.
legal stand towards euthanasia, religious perspective as well,
Yeah.
even cultural.
Culture, yeah.
For starters, I know so far in Africa, where obviously I represent, there is no culture that grants end of euthanasia at the moment.
Completely. Yeah, as
There's
I told
not.
you before, my first exposure to end of life was when I moved to the UK. So I have never seen the document. I have never seen anyone being granted that peaceful ending. And I've worked in a couple of hospitals where they look after very acute patients and very ill patients, but I have never seen it before. You get me? This is the first place, as I told you before, the first time I was told that this patient has agreed not to be resuscitated, I had to actually take the document and sit down for like an hour and try to internalize the details of this document, because I couldn't grasp how anyone would, because at first, anyone watching this will try to like understand, why would someone wish death upon themselves? You get me?
Can I put you in a pause?
Yeah.
Just for a second there. And we're going to continue through what I was talking about regarding these different lenses to look out.
Yeah.
The practicality and obviously the moral standing of euthanasia. Judging if it's right or wrong. We're going to continue that in a minute. But just to pause to dive into what you just said now.
Yep.
This is how I say it. Euthanasia and then end of life on the other hand, but obviously coming between is something just mentioned, do not resuscitate, which is something quite frankly is very common down here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take a DNR, for instance, as a form of euthanasia, because this is how I see euthanasia. Euthanasia is it's a situation where a living person is is soliciting to end his life or her life, as the case may be. That's euthanasia. So I am living, probably going to die, but at the moment I'm living, and then I want to die, and I'm asking you, please, can you kill me?
Now,
But I'm coming.
Okay.
But when it comes to DNR, like do not resuscitate, yes, I am living, but I'm asking you, on the event that I died, do not bring me back to life. So I think they are quite different.
so the main reason when I have put them together, the main reason I have kind of merged them, is because DNAR, okay, for descriptive purposes, DNAR is a document that legally gives us the obligation to not resuscitate you in the attempt that you died. We don't bring you back to life, okay? The main reason I have kind of merged them together is because the first transition towards euthanasia is you acknowledging the fact that you do not want to be resuscitated. And legally, I think you need to have that document as well. You get me? As the initial step. Because if you died and legally an investigation is conducted and there was no document that has bound us carers not to resuscitate you, then that is a quagmire.
Absolutely. And there wouldn't be any ethical questions or eyebrows raised in that situation or occasion. But when it comes to like frank plank euthanasia, it is like you killing someone who is living. And that is where the questions come.
Yeah.
Okay, just to like continue to where I was when I was like in the listing out the different consideration when it comes to like
Euthanasia.
ways to like define, describe, and at the same time, what's the word I want to use now? Like, say, okay, you're doing something and you want to prove that what you're doing is right or wrong. Okay, one hand is the ethical consideration, which obviously is bound by everyone who practice medicine, you, me, and everyone else. And beside the fact that even if you're not even in medicine or you're not like in healthcare or whatever, as a person, by that logic, you are somewhat bound by some level of ethics. And you know, as I know, you've been a nurse as I am as well, that by this practice, there are so many principles that we abide in, which are very, very, very close and conflicting most times.
Most times they're very conflicting.
Example,
Yeah.
beneficence. Okay, and that's like you doing good to someone, to everyone.
Yeah.
By default, you are obligated to do good.
Look after, to care for.
Right. Secondly, non-maleficence, and that is an obligation to you not to cause harm by any means.
Yes. You're bound not to cause
Harm, right? And then the third one, but not limited to it, by the way, I just want to bring this through because I think that's really quite instrumental to like having this conversation, is autonomy.
Yeah.
And autonomy means every person that comes to you is a person on himself and
An
has the right
individual.
to have a say, not just having a say, control the kind of care
They deserve.
they not only deserve, they want.
And demand.
Yeah, the demand. That's the autonomy. So I'm expecting that when you go to the hospital and you don't want to take a particular treatment, you have the right to say, I don't want to take it.
Yes.
And we are bound by that right to respect it.
Yes.
So when it comes to this, now let's have this conversation, bringing euthanasia into the house. Like, let's sandwich this topic in these different ethical principles. I give you a scenario. A person comes in pain, in the terminal illness, let's say hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. He's going to die anyways.
Yes.
Having a very crappy night
Yeah.
because obviously he has to struggle to sleep. It feels like he's drowning. His heart is failing. There is no quality of life.
Yeah.
And he just wants to die. And it comes to you and it's like, okay, I don't sleep much. I'm in pain anyways. And I really want to end this whole shit. You will do me a favor if you kill me or give me something to die.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you consider that as a form of beneficence by that logic? At the same time, respecting the autonomy of this
Of
person.
the individual. Yeah, they're
On
very
the one-
conflicting.
I know, on the one hand. And the other hand, you actually killing someone can be seen as you doing
Causing
harm.
harm.
So there are so many like ways to look at these things, and
Gray
they
areas.
don't seem like there's any way to win in this situation.
No.
That is why, on the one hand, there will be this argument regarding euthanasia. People say, yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. And on the other hand, obviously, people coming with the counter arguments like, okay, this is actually a very disgusting, bad thing to do. And there are so many reasons. So, on the first time, I said autonomy and stuff.
Yeah.
If you also want to consider it, if, for instance, all of a sudden, there is this general common law to legalize euthanasia. And this is besides the ethical principles or ethical limitations or restrictions on healthcare personnel to do so. Let's say all those are like crap. Okay, legally it is so. So we have places like Germany, Georgia, Denmark, and most of these Eastern European countries, which practice at the moment, like you say, Canada as well, Switzerland. So it's legal to practice euthanasia.
Actually, closer home, Scotland. Yeah.
Really?
There is a debate at the moment.
At the moment?
Yes, there's an article on BBC, I think October 2024. So you can quote me. Don't quote me though. October.
About.
Yes, they're about. Yeah. So they're passing a bill, and the argument is euthanasia is a ray of hope. They're using an example of a lady who's got terminal lung cancer. You get me? It's not a win situation for her.
Yeah.
You get me? And it's actually stage 4. So she's struggling to breathe. Anything she does that requires energy and requires exertion is a problem to her. You get me? So her quality of life has deteriorated severely. And they're quoting percentages as well. You get me? So they're saying if the quality of life of this individual is below a certain percentage,
let's say 10 or 20.
yes, 10 or 20, then it means they're qualified. They're qualified for euthanasia. And when that bill is passed, it'll be known as assisted dying. You get me? And they're looking, yes, they have the right idea behind it. You get me? But it is very, very conflicting with regards to how the society looks at death.
Yeah, that is a very, very, very instrumental example you gave in there.
Yeah.
And also the reason is very, very genuine. I would say, to be granted.
Yeah.
pause. But if, for instance, I mean, I imagine there are states now who are practicing euthanasia right now, pretty much.
Yeah.
But there's a very, very gray, not a gray, I would want to use the word now. Let's say a typical question that might be raised.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be worried on the occasion of abuse, for instance, if, we were granted like euthanasia, and it's like, okay, now as a medical person, now you have the right to grant that wish on a person, and even bringing it home to you, to your example, judging the quality of life based on percentages. And would you be worried about on occasion of misdiagnosis? Diagnosis not on the particular illness in this case, but diagnosis on, okay, are you on that criteria level? So based on these percentages.
Yeah. There are people who are opposing it, okay? And they have a list of
reasons why they do so.
Reasons why they're doing it, yeah. And that is actually part of the reason, okay? It is a very, if it's legalized, it's going to be a very, very slippery slope.
Very, very intricate situation.
Exactly. Very slippery slope because, yes, we understand that there will be a lot of professions who are going to be involved when such a bill is going to be passed, okay? Medical personnel, people from civil rights group, and all these other people, okay? And there is quite a lot of arguments that are going around with regards to how it can be safely practiced. But on the other hand, if this power is granted to citizens, because now when that bill is passed, you've taken this power from like a professional point of view, and you've handed it over to the citizens.
An ordinary person.
Yes. You can now imagine someone with deficiency of information, what they can do. You understand?
Like in another you might find yourself in another situation where I would call it assisted suicide.
Yes.
For instance.
Exactly. You get me? And now, no one has that, how do you call it? No one has that power to decide on prognosis. You understand? We do help when a patient is diagnosed, right?
Yeah.
Brought to hospital. The main reason they're brought to hospital is because there's a potential to improve their prognosis, right? But now this power of prognosis is taken away from us.
I understand. I mean, even without the power of procrastination taken away from you, even if it was walled in in a medical situation, the medical environment. Yeah. I mean, doctors, nurses, and the likes, they're human. There's also a chance a chance of medical error. Yeah. We have had situations where people have a misdiagnosis. Okay.
Yeah.
So if there was a situation where yes, you have the right to grant death on someone based on certain criteria, okay, and then you as a person, as a doctor, a primary healthcare provider, you grade people, see them, assess them, and evaluate them, and you put them in different criteria. Why do you think at all time 100% each person you put on certain tiers, and this is the criteria continuum, whatever you want to call it, is exactly where it should be? Because there are room for medical errors.
Yeah, so the main reason I've laughed, I've recently watched this movie by Dave Bautista. Lovely movie. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. Okay? The main reason I've laughed is it's a movie about, I'll digress slightly just to take the seriousness of this topic, So it's a movie about this assassin. He's a world-renowned assassin. But recently he's been having headaches, he's been
sorry. Did you just say world-renowned?
Yes, he's a world-renowned, like he's killed in every country.
You know what renowned mean? Like
he's known by everyone.
Oh no, no, not just known, but known for good things. Renowned. When they are renowned.
Like, no, he's known. Sorry. English is not even my first or second.
What renowned?
So he's you can be renowned if you do a good job, right? You're a good assassin. You can be renowned if you're a good assassin. Yeah. You do your work perfectly.
Yeah.
So he's been having headaches. Yeah. He's been having trouble seeing and all that. Oh my fucking God, we just flew. Anyway, he goes to the doctor. He has a CT scan and MRI done. Okay?
Yeah.
And then, as you said, human error. When the doctor was going through the results, yeah, he called him and told him, you have a stage 4 brain tumor and you only have 6 weeks to live. You get me? Before it compromises other functions of your body. And then the doctor tells him, okay, come and we'll give you painkillers and everything. And this guy hangs up. And then he thinks, he's like, I have 6 weeks to live. Why should I go back to that doctor? You get me? Let me continue doing what I like more. So he rings the lady who like offers him jobs and tells the lady, I need a hit on me. Because he doesn't want to see the he doesn't want to see the death coming. Yeah. He tells the lady, I need a hit on me. Like, call the best assassins you know. Tell them to come and kill me. Okay? And the lady makes the call. There's a bounty. He gives the lady all his savings, a significant amount of money, so that the one who kills Dave Bautista
goes on with that.
Yes, goes home with the money. Immediately that is done, the doctor calls him back. Oh, sorry, these were not your results.
Now you can't do anything now. Yeah, so far.
These are not your results. You get me? Mind you, the hit has already been made. So when it said, when you talked about medical error, I was like, shit, something like that can happen to an individual.
It can
you get
actually,
me?
yes.
You can have a CT scan done, and probably you might be ailing from something very trivial. You can have a scan done, but because of human error, yeah, you are issued result. Most of us have been in such situations.
Well, it happens all the time in the hospital.
Yes.
Honest, like, yeah.
You're issued results that were not yours.
Actually, the leading cause of death in the world globally,
Yeah.
first off, is cancer.
Yeah.
Second is heart problems. The third is human error.
Yeah.
That is how significant it is.
Yes. So now you can imagine with how massive human error is and how massive it leads to such detrimental deaths.
Yeah.
You can now imagine euthanasia in the
Being
hand.
legalized, no, putting someone's life in, obviously the
Other
life is
people's
in people's
hands.
hands. Yeah, already anyways, pretty much, but given the right to like terminate on request. But obviously you're going to do this based on a specified metric that puts you on that, makes you eligible like to be granted that request.
Yeah.
First off, we are held off by your ethics not to do this, but if they happen to find themselves in certain place in the matrix, then you can allow, you can actually, but if you do this and then your whole analysis, your assessment, you are wrong and blah blah, then it's a very hard one. There's no win to this actually.
Yeah,
There's no
because
win to this.
you can die and you cannot come back to life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we've talked about this. I mean, we're talking a little more than 35 minutes having this conversation. I'm sure it might sound very heavy to you, heavy in the sense that you might not understand most of the words we're talking about. We'll try to simplify it. But at the same time, heavy because we are somewhat bringing this topic around medical practice and the medical environment.
Yeah.
But this is not anything unusual to even you as a common person.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you've had someone, friend, sister, parents, grandparents who have like gone to the point where they are really living a very terrible life. Now terrible life I don't mean like terrible because like decisions of their own blah blah blah, like quality of life in that regards. And they are an optimum heavy burden on the family, on themselves as well, and they wished they were not in that situation. But death is not just coming. I'm sure some of you have wished death somewhat on someone else.
Yeah, because you've
in
seen
your family.
Yeah, you've seen how much they're suffering.
How much they're suffering. They were like,
Exactly,
you would have give them peace if they left.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we are talking about here.
Yeah.
Now the question is, you as a person, as a common person there, you as a common person down there, having a sibling, having a parent, having a grandfather, a grandma, or someone, a friend, or for instance, who is in that situation, very terrible by the way, and they ask you, please, can you grant me this wish to die? And all you need to do is probably, put a bullet on his head. Or let's say put just little chemicals or poison to his food or whatever, and it just makes it easy and peaceful.
Don't give them ideas.
The question is, would you do it? Would you do it? And if you do it, what gives you the right to do it? How will you justify the action?
Yes.
That is the conversation we're having right here.
Yeah.
Very tricky, but that's where we are.
And there's no answer to it.
Absolutely.
There's no answer. It's a complete gray area.
Now, let's come back to us.
Yeah.
So far, we had a good banter on the overview about end of life and euthanasia, as you were. But you personally, what's your take on this topic?
First of all, we need to. I come from a society. We both from Africa, so we come from a society where we don't look at death objectively. I don't know of any society in Africa that looks at death objectively.
Yeah.
So death doesn't have any purpose, but it's an ending. It's an ending. It's a loss. So it is completely related to negativity. You get me?
Yeah.
So personally, having grown up in a society where I have seen how people really struggle to keep their relatives alive, we've had people on critical care for long, an unimaginable period of time. We're prolonging their lives. You get me? We're prolonging their suffering, but we're still there. We're still hopeful that a miracle might happen. You get me? How people work tirelessly to make sure with the relatives who they're ailing, they pull the extent, offer kidneys, do all this, just to make sure this person sees another day, live alone another hour. You get me? Coming from such a society, I wouldn't do it. You get me? But now, medically, that is me as an individual. But now, medically, straight. If I know your prognosis is not guaranteed, if I know you're not seeing the next 4 or 5 years, if I know you're not even 4 or 5 years, you're not seeing tomorrow, I'd easily do it. I'd easily do it because I don't see the reason why you're here, you're suffering. It has compromised your well-being. It has compromised your quality of life. You get me? How you knew yourself, you're no longer that. You get me? You're just a shell of who you are. Sometimes you're just a shell trapped in a body. You've seen that a couple of times, right? Yeah? So if, from a medical perspective, yes, of course, I'd do it. You get me? But from an individual perspective, if I didn't have that medical background, I wouldn't do it. How about you?
Well, I see this topic very okay. Let me just go in this direction. So on the one hand is end of life, and the other hand is euthanasia. So for me as a person, there is no wing, like inclination to either side. Now, I am bound. My essence as a person is bound by so many things. First, by the culture, like you explained in Africa.
Yeah.
We have this relationship with death that we see it as an end indeed.
Yes.
And then we have this communal situation where we are intimately bonded to those who are around us, and we don't ever want to lose them.
Yeah.
If there was a chance to prolong life to eternity, we'll probably do it.
Yeah.
And that is why we are quite heroic when it comes to medical practice in Nigeria. I would imagine
Kenya
other part of Africa.
Yeah.
You see people jumping on the chest of a 95-year-old lady.
Yes.
Breaking bones.
Breaking bones.
Yeah, for no reason. Okay, for just cardiac arrest. If you just when you would have just let that lady pass peacefully.
Yeah.
Now that's the culture and environment I came from.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm Catholic. I'm Christian.
Yeah.
We go by the basic rule, the sanctity of life.
Yes.
Which means I don't have the right to take any life.
No.
No one has the right. You yourself don't even have the right to take your
Your own life. Yeah.
because it was not given to you.
Yeah.
So by that logic, someone is in pain, suffering, we quite empathize, probably sympathize, but then I can't help you because I really can't take your life. It is all on God. And this is very instrumental because Africa is the continent that practices religion most highly
Than any other place
any other place.
in the world.
So you can kind of imagine. So and we go by the nitty-gritties, by the rulings of this church, by the rulings of the religion and everything.
And the
And
most
there is no religion, by the
spiritual
way, that I know of that encourages
Advocates.
euthanasia.
Yeah.
None. Be it Islam, be it traditional worshipping, be it Christian, be it Buddhism. There is none at all. So by that logic as well, I am still confined in a space
Yeah.
based on my spiritual beliefs, my religious inclination.
Yeah.
Now I'm a nurse. That even fucks me more. Yeah, because I'm even limited as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so personally, I can't cause harm because I have
Bound.
sworn an oath.
Yeah.
Okay, a nightingale oath as a nurse, and even as a doctor, my brother would imagine a Hippocratic one as well.
Yeah.
So I can't really do most of the thing. But when it comes down to me as a person, take off the apparels of religion, culture, ethics, morality, and other stuff. But me as a person, and I see someone who is in a terminal illness. Now, terminal in quotes, which means there is no way back.
And yeah.
There is only one way. If I have to assess, I will agree with you. I think I would treat everyone on an individual basis. If you are probably right, you're terminal because you're aging, you're frail, but you're not really in pain, or for instance, you're in pain, but your pain can be controlled. In that regards, end of life care, pretty much.
Yep.
I shouldn't do it. It's going to happen anyway, so why make it fast?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I could help you with the pain, help you with the secretions, help you with other bits and stuff that will at least give you some quality of life,
Keep you
and
comfortable.
comfort until you pass eventually.
Yeah.
But if I were, as a person, not a doctor, not a nurse, not anything, limited, by the way, in any regards, and I met this lady who was really ill, well, maybe 8 years ago, back in the heyday of me practicing nursing, and I could see really how she was suffering in her pain. Trust me, like I said before, I wished she died. And I don't regret, or I don't feel guilty about that way, because I felt like I'll be doing her a favor if I did it. So I think my take here is, there is no way to win it. There's no way to there's no overall rule to this. There wouldn't be anyways.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be, if at all it's happened to be a legal thing to do eventually, then it should be done on an individual basis. And for those who are suffering, please put the horse down.
Put the horse down.
There is a tattoo I told you earlier. I just want to say to them, that was in a movie I saw sometime. I've forgotten. I can't reference the movie, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was a tattoo on someone, on the back.
Can I
really
say?
written
Can I
birthday.
say?
Please do. Make the credit.
Oh my God! Death before dishonor.
Death before dishonor.
Death before dishonor.
So if you were to be in a situation where this was the case,
Life has dishonored you.
live by that principle.
Your health has dishonored
right.
you. So yeah, of course, death before dishonor.
I think we've really gone far. And they even
Yeah.
there was so much.
Weirdly,
to
I
talk about.
noticed something recently. Yeah. Anytime we have a proper serious articulated conversation, the time
Just flies off.
flies. 1 minute we're in the definition. A few conversations about the definition, and straight half an hour's gone like that. But anyway, I'm
Tell you
really,
what.
really hoping you've been informed. You
Yeah,
want to say
sorry.
something?
Crack on.
I'm just saying, I'm hoping you've been informed. I'm hoping whatever we talked about has impacted your life one way or the other. It has demystified a lot of issues circumnavigating euthanasia, end of life, and death per se.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying
This
something.
is what we're going to do, because because we're still having this conversation around death and dying.
Yeah.
There are so many things that comes peripherally when it comes to this topic,
Yeah.
and this we have not even gone a half an inch
No.
to what we wanted to say.
We've just scratched
But at the same
surface.
time, we had a goal to keep this episode as short as possible, and we're gone way past the
estimated.
the estimated time. But we end this here,
Yeah.
and then we come back in the second port.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about abortion. We're going to be
Yeah.
talking about social care
Yeah.
as it relates to Africa, as it relates here
Yeah.
in the Western world, and the comparison, and other bit. I think just be there.
I think on the next episode we should also talk about what did I want to say? the care for the old, the geriatrics.
Geriatrics.
Yes, I think because abortion is like the beginning of life, right?
Right.
It is death with regards to the beginning of life.
Right. Yeah.
And now geriatric care is death with regards to the end
of life.
Yes. So I think when we tackle that, I think we'll have demystified all these issues circumnavigating death.
Life and death.
Yep.
Yeah. So you guys keep your eyes out
Yep.
there for the second episode on this episode.
Yep.
Actually, as episode.
Yeah.
I talk fast and it just crazily wraps my mouth.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope you guys are quite entertained and informed as well.
Yes.
With the conversation. It has not been easy having this conversation. As you see, there is no win. So this is just about perspective and personal, idiosyncrasies regarding these topics.
Yeah.
But then this is where we call it a debate. And if you've been here, thank you very much up on this time.
Yes.
Please follow us on our social media platforms.
Yep.
Black Tat Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Our
Yep.
home base on YouTube, please. It's Black Tat PC, right?
Yes, on YouTube is Blacked Out PC.
Yeah, Black Tat PC.
Yep.
Please share, subscribe, hit the like button, share to friends.
Yep.
If you tell us about for the remaining ones.
So Facebook, we are on Blacked Out, BLACKD out, and on X we are on. I was corrected last time, so it's not Twitter, it's X. And on X we are on Blacked Out PC.
Black Tat PC.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again, and you guys have a good rest day of your life, or
Yes.
whatever.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are.
Have fun, whatever you do. Peace.
Yes. Peace, and we're out.